The birth of the modern horror story can be traced to the dark visions that crept from the febrile imagination of H.P. Lovecraft. These weird tales have since carved their creator a tentacle-shaped throne among the monoliths of American literature. As Lovecraft posthumously entered the literary canon, the ancient monsters that lurked in the skies and the depths of his rural New England have inspired an ever-expanding mythology, the Cthulhu mythos, compiled by communities of Lovecraft fans, authors and illustrators. The pairing of Lovecraft's best-loved stories with the Folio Society and the acclaimed artwork of Dan Hillier stands as a new landmark in this grand tradition.
The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little, but someday the piecing together of dissociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age. I heard from Raquel about a year ago, I think, and we talked about the possibility of illustrating this Lovecraft book.
Initially, you sent me one or two of your ideas, and when I saw them, I just thought, yeah, definitely.
We've ended up sort of going down the rabbit hole with it, and it feels like a really nice mixture of something that's specific to the Lovecraft book, but very much still my own work as well. Like, one of the things about Lovecraft stories is that they're about a kind of collision of two dimensions a lot of the time, you know, like one world sort of encroaching on another one. And I like the fact that that purple and green, the book sort of switches between two different looks. I love what the Folio Society do with the quality of their book binding and the way that they produce the books.
It's just a craft in itself, making books for Folio. It really is. And I think when I work with artists, and they really get into it, and it becomes their project as well. And that's why it takes such a long time for the process of a book to become a book, because every nook and cranny is thought about.
Celebrated graphic novelist Alan Moore writes in his new introduction to the Folio edition, "The infectious swoon of Lovecraft's delirious prose and his hallucinatory ideas evoke in the susceptible an escalating ecstasy of trepidation, like some legendarily unbalancing variety of absinthe that cannot be reproduced and isn't manufactured anymore."
I've been working full-time as an artist for about 10 years now. I've basically got thousands now of old pages from the Illustrated London News and old encyclopedias, and I'll find a picture that has a particular sort of beauty about it, or drama, or something that I think I can use as the kind of basis of a picture, and then I'll know that there's another element somewhere that I've got which will set that off nicely, and the picture sort of builds itself as I go, really. With the Folio project, at first I wasn't quite sure how I was going to approach it, because I didn't want to be too illustrative. But this time, obviously, I had subject matter to draw from. A lot of his stories share characters or monsters or places will crop up in different stories, so he's creating a whole world. And I wanted to have something similar to that, so that they're all sort of individual pictures that stand up on their own, but they kind of have links between them as well. You know, I didn't want to just illustrate a certain part of a story or a certain line or a scene. It was much more about getting the atmosphere into the piece whilst also suggesting something that might have been going on in the story as well.